Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video we're discussing Knells and Wedding Bells, written by Eva Gates. It's the 10th book in the Lighthouse Library Mystery Series. It's a long-running cozy mystery series, and it's one of my favourites in that genre. Unfortunately, this book is not as strong as previous books in the series, for the mystery part anyway. It felt like it had all been done before, we'd been there before. On the cozy side, I think it's still strong. It's just that mystery element. And also there's one section with the cat Charlie that shocked me a little bit, and I'll discuss that later on in the video. At the start of this book, Lucy and Connor are finally getting married. We're in the middle of their wedding, or their wedding reception anyway. People are having a great time. It's very lavish, and it seems extremely lavish considering in previous books they made a big deal about not spending a lot on the wedding. But it seems like they spent a fortune. It's at a big hotel, or their hotel in the town, and there's quite a lot of people there. Everybody's having a great time, and then we get to the stage where everybody's leaving. Then the next day, a body's found. And who should be there when the body's found is Lucy, because Lucy was going there to say hello to people, I think, the next morning. So a body's found, and we find out that it's somebody who was at the wedding. It's a +1 guest. So it's not a main character or a character that's directly related to any of the main characters. It's a +1 guest. But there's soon to be a suspect. And the person who's a suspect is Eddie. And Eddie is the gentleman friend of Bernie. And Bernie is the manager of the library. So to help Bertie out, Lucy decides to investigate. And of course we know she has to, because this is a cozy mystery. And in cozy mysteries, we need that person to stick their nose in and try to solve the crime. That's what cozy mysteries are all about. That's where the fun comes into these books. The reason Eddie is a suspect is because he went back to the hotel that night on his own, and now he's vanished. Nobody can find him. And the victim was having some sort of heated discussion with somebody during the wedding reception. Lucy heard the discussion, saw the victim, but didn't see the other person. So people start to wonder, was it Eddie? And why is Eddie vanished? That's the reason he's a suspect. We do learn that there was a history between Eddie and the victim. That makes him more of a suspect. We learn that the victim was blackmailing Eddie back in the past. They knew each other at college, and something Eddie did led the victim to blackmail Eddie. But we also learn later on in the story that Eddie is not the only person this victim blackmailed. So there's more suspects in the mix. And we need that in this story. We need more than one suspect. So while Lucy's trying to investigate, she's got other problems. There's a new detective in town, Detective North. And he seems a bit harsher than Sam Watson. And he doesn't trust Lucy the way Sam Watson does. And for some reason, Detective North seems to have it in for Lucy. Doesn't like her that much. So Lucy starts to clash with this new detective, and that causes trouble for Lucy as the book progresses. But of course, there's other things going on in the book as well, more on the cozy side, where all the drama happens, where all the character interactions happen. And that's one of the big things about cozy mysteries. You need all that going on in the background. The big things happening in this book are that one of Lucy's brothers is going through a divorce. And it's not a very nice divorce. It's quite nasty between him and his soon-to-be ex-wife. And they're both at the wedding reception, and they're both staying in town for a few days after the wedding. And there's a few clashes between them, and there's some big moments in the book with those two, and it's big moments, and it's very dramatic, and it involves other people in the town as well. So it's very impactful in the book. So on the cozy side, that's a tick. We've got big moments happening, big drama happening in the book. Also, Louise Jane, my favourite character. I do like Louise Jane in this series, but I think Louise Jane needs more pages in this series of late. Anyway, Louise Jane has her eye on Detective North, the new guy in town. She's got the hots for him, and she's trying to get his attention. And that adds for some light moments in the book while she's trying to go about that, because she does come on a bit strong. But she won't admit that actually to anybody. But she does, and other people can see that. And it's heartwarming in some ways, but also a bit heartbreaking in others as we see what happens in the scenes between Louise Jane and Detective North. But for me, the mystery element wasn't that good. It was all been there, done that. Let's grab pieces from other books in the series and just mesh them together and make a mystery. That's what it felt like. And the conclusion felt a little bit strange. It felt like the culprit had just been picked out of thin air towards the end with not much evidence and just not much seeding of the culprit through the book. That felt strange to me because other books in the series are stronger, and I don't know what it is with this book. Maybe it's just a blip, and I hope it's a blip in the series because I still like this series very much. It's still one of my favourite series, and I want to read more in the series if books are produced in the future. But I do want to mention one thing about Charlie the cat. And I'm a cat lover. I do like cats, and I like Charlie in this series. But now that Connor and Lucy living in their home, and Charlie spends time in the home with them, in their home they've got a balcony, and it's an open balcony. It's not closed off. They put Charlie on a leash and a harness if he goes out on the balcony. But this leash and harness lets Charlie jump up on balcony posts. What stops Charlie from jumping down from that and hurting himself on the harness? Now I find that strange in this book. The characters are meant to really care for Charlie the cat, but they let something like that happen. For me, that's a warning sign, and I hope in future books we have an enclosed area in the porch, or we don't let Charlie jump up on the posts because he's a cat, right? If he sees something that interests him, he's going to try to jump off and attack it. For this video, I want to talk about some of the characters we've discussed in previous videos in the series, some of the main characters in the series. The first is Lucy. Now Lucy has changed for me. She was more exciting, more go-getting, more energetic in the series at the start and as the series went on. Now she's settled down and married and living with Connor. That's changed. She seems quieter. She seems to be more passive. She seems to let Connor lead things more. And she just seems to focus on Connor's thoughts and let Connor dictate a bit what she thinks. And that's a change for this character. And it's a negative change in my opinion. It's like she's losing her independence in the book. And I like Lucy as a character. She's not my favourite character in the series, but she's one of my favourites. And for this series to go on as strong as it has been, this character needs to get her independence back. Needs to get that energy back, that focus back that she had in all the other books in this series. Louise Jane still remains my favourite character in the series, but she's not getting as many pages as she used to get. She's not getting those big scenes, those impactful scenes that really made Louise Jane jump out of the pages. And it's a shame because she's such a big character in this series for many reasons. You know, sometimes she's comic relief, sometimes too much comic relief in the series, but it's those elements that make her strong as well. She's got a huge personality, but she seems to be being pushed back into the shadows more and more, into the background more and more. And that's a shame because for a big character like Louise Jane, it'd be hard to see her just forgotten in the series. So I'm hoping in future books in this series, she's got more pages and there's more big scenes with Louise Jane. Bertie, who manages the library. Now, early on in this series, Bertie was a tower of strength. She was there for everybody. People went to Bertie for help, for assistance, and she was a really strong character, really determined, really courageous, and didn't let people bully her around. Nothing seemed to affect Bertie that much. But now, she just seems to be turning to someone who comes across as very old, feeling old, and things get to her more now. She seems more tired in the series now. And I don't think that matches the Bertie we had. Now, wondering what that means for Bertie as a character. Does that mean that the author's planning to retire Bertie out of the library? Kind of push her out of that setting and push her into retirement in the series? You know, that would kind of make sense if the book's progressing as the years go on. But I just wonder what the author's doing for that Bertie character, because Bertie just feels so much more different than she used to in previous books in this series. While I didn't think this book was the best book in the series, it won't stop me from reading further books in the series if the writer produces more. I rate this a 3 out of 5. The cozy elements are still spot on, and it ticks a lot of those cozy boxes. Just the mystery in this book let it down a bit. On my channel, I review many cozy mysteries. If you like cozy mysteries, check out my channel and subscribe. I also have an Eva Gates playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.